Welcome to We Have That Podcast at Home.
I'm on-brand Rachel.
And I'm on-brand Gamage.
And this is our off-brand
and
podcast.
This is our off-brand
I
podcast.
thought we were going back and forth. The only podcast to bravely venture to the unknown and suggest that cats are actually better than dogs.
Well, they are.
I know.
We've been over this.
Yes, I agree. You agree.
Although I will say, one of the benefits of dogs over cats is that if you leave the country and need to leave your animal with somebody, it is way easier to do dogs and cats.
What are you talking about?
Well, cats, they're kind of nested, and you gotta have somebody come over and watch them. You can't, take the cat somewhere else. That's fucking crazy.
Nah.
Dogs, you could totally do that.
Yes, but also, my dog requires significantly more babysitting than your cat. When someone comes to watch my
Fair.
dog, it's like, hey, so you gotta take her on, at least 2 30 to 45-minute walks a day. You're gonna need to feed her once in the morning and once in the evening. With a cat, you get an automatic feeder and, a gallon water thing. You could leave them for, 3 days and they'd be fine. They might be annoyed, but they would be alive.
I wouldn't want my cat to be left alone.
I mean, I don't disagree.
I definitely.
But the point is, you could do it. I can't do that with my dog. She would eat all of it. Well, no, it's an automatic feeder, so it dispenses a portion at given times.
Who are you talking to?
Brittany, because she put auto feeder won't work.
Ignore
she will
Brittany
eat
because
all.
She's fact
Oh,
checker,
all
not
three.
opinion sayer.
You're right. I need to move away from the chat.
I don't need a fact, so I'm not reading what she's saying.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, my dog, I have to have someone be here with her, and she gets super anxious and lonely and weird if someone's not with her most of the day. Cats? Easy.
I don't know. I feel like it's a lot easier to just take, if I had a dog, I'd just take a dog to somebody who owned a farm and be like, here you go.
I mean, they're definitely more open to being mobile, but...
Yeah, I also have way less respect for dogs, so that's probably, I'd want my cat to be treated well, and the dog I don't give a fuck about. That's probably my
yeah,
disconnect
that's why
there.
you would take them to the farm and say, good luck, I'm not picking you back up in a week.
I might be back, I might not.
Probably
Each week
not.
we play Russian Roulette with our success and spin a wheel to find the genre of next week's podcast. This week we're attempting wild card, which we decided is pop culture.
Yes.
Pop culture.
Yep, so...
That includes movies.
Yep, and I will be reviewing, or I guess describing, the movie Mystery Men that Gamage has been talking about so much in relation to Smash
Yes.
Mouth for the last 4 episodes.
Yep. And I will be reviewing Highlander 2, so I can't wait to get into that.
For the second time.
Fuck! I don't have anything planned.
That's okay. I think Mystery Men will take us most of the time.
All right. Let's do it. Tell me about Mystery Men and how much you enjoyed it.
Okay, actually, I gotta be honest. I did not enjoy that movie.
You have not liked any movie I recommended so far because
What movie
what I've
haven't I
realized
liked?
is that you have no taste.
Which
Zero.
movies did I
None.
not like?
Highlander. You didn't like Highlander. You tore Highlander apart.
Yeah, but I liked it more than I liked this. I definitely see that it's a cult classic.
No, Mystery Men has a very tepid audience. I like bad cult classic movies, I'll admit. I like Legend and Highlander and Mystery Men and Jesus Fish. You didn't like Jesus Fish either, you ungrateful cow.
I loved Jesus Fish. What the fuck are you talking about? Look, ripping at a new asshole is not the same thing as disliking it. I can judge
fair.
something and love something simultaneously.
Was it that you just were watching the movie and you just kept thinking, this is fucking dumb? Or was it that it was kind of just super forgettable and you just found yourself constantly wandering your attention away?
Honestly, I think the thing that took me out of it the most is that Ben Stiller's character was basically just Zoolander Part 2.
I mean,
And
it
so
predates Zoolander, though, I thought.
I was so stuck in, hey, fact checker, when did these 2 movies come out? I was so stuck in the concept that he must have just typecasted for like a whole era of time or really
He was
liked
for a
playing a
while.
dumb guy or something because half the time I was like, this is just not even half the time, most of the time. This is just Zoolander.
Have you ever watched Heavyweights? He's in that.
Um,
Next episode.
no.
We'll have you watch that. Heavyweights is about a fat camp.
Oh, I'm
It's
excited.
kind of like a kids family movie. Ben Stiller's in that as like the new camp leader,
Wait, I may have actually seen this.
and he's like a super fitness fuck, and he's a douche.
Super fitness fuck. I'm gonna go to the gym and find some dude that's like really getting into his routine and walk past and go, "What are you, just some super fitness fuck?" Ruin that guy's
Yeah, do you
day.
remember the movie Dodgeball? Ben Stiller's character in
Yeah.
that? Yeah, it's like the precursor to that.
Oh my god,
It's
so
like
maybe he has
how he got
genres
there.
of the same character or something.
I mean, he does. He always has like an over the top zany. The water is, or wetness is the essence of water. He has that character, and then he has like, I'm serious and I'm also kind of boring.
Yeah,
Like in Along Came Polly and Night at the Museum.
yeah, that's fair.
That's his range. That's his range.
I'm serious and boring. Yeah, really, it is just boring or straight zany. There is not a lot of in between to that gentleman.
I mean, I'm open to being wrong, but we're not there yet. So, first of all, how was your how was your concert for Prince? How'd you like it?
It was actually really good, but when like at the end of the concert they go off stage and then everybody says encore, 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 and everybody has a planned encore, so they come running back out and everybody cheers.
Yes, was that a? I thought it was a rhetorical question.
Kind of, like, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I do indeed. Yes.
Okay, so what happened is everybody started chanting encore, and then while Prince was running back onto the stage, someone actually resurrected him from the world of the living. So he just sort of like ascended away from the stage
Huh.
simultaneously.
Well, did he come back? Because I know he's still dead here. So
Not that I know of. So like maybe it was a 24-hour thing. I don't really know. I don't think he expected it to happen either.
actually, have you ever noticed that Prince really likes to do like superhero songs?
Name some?
Hold on, I'm not stupid. Let me explain this.
I know that's I'm
More
not
specifically,
stupid.
so like like the superhero trope of characters that are just like an object or an animal or a plant and then a color. Like you have like White Tiger
Yes.
and like Green Lantern, shit like that.
Yeah.
Prince has like his songs are always like a color and an object, or like Raspberry Beret, Purple Rain, Little Red Corvette. Motherfuckers naming superheroes.
I don't think I've noticed that.
Fact checker, what other color Prince songs are there? I know there's more. That can't be it.
The fucker's just naming superheroes.
It's just a weird thought that I just had.
I would say it's a pretty the dots connect.
Well, we can't ask him now unless we did like a seance. Maybe next wild card we'll do like a seance for somebody.
Well, maybe what happened is like people, if you chant encore in this dimension, maybe he shows up or something. Like it's like a life encore.
Is it like a Beetlejuice kind of scenario?
Maybe. Prince.
Dude.
Prince.
Fact checker, thank you. Also, blue light, white mansion, black sweat, pink cashmere. That I feel like some of those are made up.
When he got famous or something, like the first song to get famous had this sort of formula to it, and it was one of those things where it's like taboo to switch off of it because it was lucky.
Hold on, fact checker which is your favorite color song? Raspberry Beret's not in here, and Raspberry Beret is most certainly referring to the color, because otherwise it's not about a raspberry hat, like a hat that's a berry. That's not it. It's the color raspberry. Oh, he also has a song called Cream and a song called Gold.
Potentially, I believe a song called Tangerine also.
I can't. I am incapable of deducing if all of these things that these people are shouting are real or
Bullshit.
not.
I know, me too. I'm like, I don't know if this is real. I don't know what to believe.
Also, one of these users is named Riffraff and has the Riffraff avatar from Rocky Horror.
That's funny.
This is weird. Anyway, Prince is obsessed with superheroes. Canon. It's canon.
Really, he knew when he was gonna die and how many superheroes the world needed, so he just named his songs accordingly.
We should get into gene therapy and crazy mad sciencery and create superheroes, and they could each have a name of a Prince song, and we could make like this shitty Justice League.
Ooh, what if they're also made of that material? Like pink
Like,
cashmere just is a person made of pink
you wanna
cashmere. Kind of like the Pink Panther, but it feels like cashmere.
what the fuck are we gonna do with White Mansion and Red Corvette?
I
What
don't
the
know,
fuck?
maybe they're shapeshifters?
Form of a house. You dumb bitch.
Could you imagine? Fuck, I need to hide. When did they build this house on the corner here? Oh.
But also, Black Sweat and Purple Rain, would they just both be like water users, technically? But one's like a little saltier, I guess.
Do you think Blue Light would be kind of like that one guy from Watchmen, only instead of having all of his omniscient sort of
Mr.
powers,
Manhattan?
yes, he is literally just blue and glows.
Sounds like a lame X-Men character.
Yeah, it does.
All right, well, I don't have a movie today, but you do.
I
You
do.
saw the 9 out of 10 IMDb Rotten Tomato 83% certified fresh movie,
Yes.
The Mystery Men.
Fresh indeed, Mystery Men.
Oscar nominated.
Is it
Best in
actually
Show.
though?
None of those are real.
Cause yeah, when you
None of
said
them.
like 9 out of 10, I was getting concerned. I think this movie
All
hit
right.
me the same as Idiocracy did.
Like in that you think it's funny, but the more you think about it, the worse it gets, or
Like, well, no, Idiocracy, yes, but I don't know that I was like vaguely amused while watching it, but that was the height.
oh, is that like you didn't like Idiocracy that much, or
I don't know why it was just kind of boring. Like it didn't not like it, but I didn't love it either.
when did you see it?
Recently,
Oh, for the first time recently?
yeah, like a couple years
That
ago.
makes way more sense
Yeah.
because that is one of the funniest movies that has aged so poorly.
Mm-hmm.
It has not aged well. Like that kind of movie, if it were to come out like today, a lot of people would kind of give it the movie 43 treatment, where it's just like it's a little edgy for edgy's sake, don't you think? It's got a lot of vernacular that is offensive and isn't used anymore.
I did like movie 43.
I love movie 43 too.
Terrible
I
movie,
like
it's so
I
good.
like dumb fucking offensive things, and I mean I'm not.
I think
I won't defend them. I won't be like, oh, you soft-shelled soy boys are being woke and don't like this movie because it says the gay word. Like, no, it's I like most comedy, and I know that first of all, comedy shouldn't have any kind of barriers. Like there's a funny joke for everything, but there's also a lot of jokes that aren't going to sit well with a lot of people, and that's also fine.
know your audiences.
Yeah. Another thing about Idiocracy is that, like, apparently it started getting a lot of backlash because, like, its opening intro kind of hinted at eugenics a lot. And Mike Judge was like, I wasn't thinking that, but you're kind of right.
You're like, but you might be onto something.
Because, well, no, he wasn't like, yes,
No,
pro-eugenics. He
no,
was just
I
like,
know.
oh.
Yeah, they
'Cause-
like, I didn't mean it that way at all, but I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, smart people aren't having kids and only stupid people are, and therefore that stupid passes down through genes. No, it's not cut and dry that. It's more saying that responsible people aren't having kids who would, teach them good values and, push them to be higher educated. And it's really just like stupid people that are having a lot of kids and just being like, yeah, just ride dirt bikes around the trailer park. Like that's kind of what it was saying,
So eugenics.
yeah, if you blur, if you put your fingers in front of your eyes and like make like little shades out of them, like Monk does, then it's definitely eugenics.
If you squint hard enough, you can see eugenics.
It's super. Yes. Mystery Men. Give me Mystery Men.
Okay, so Mystery Men opens into a futuristic kind of looking world that honestly,
I will say, real quick, I haven't seen this movie in like fucking 15 years.
I feel
so
like that's the
this
best
is all gonna be kind of
time
new.
for me to describe a movie that you like and enjoy is when you haven't
Yes.
seen it for 15 years. No, so it opens on a futuristic kind of looking city that honestly gave me sort of BioShock vibes because I don't know, it just sort of is almost designed in the same way as
What, like Deco Punk?
kind of, I guess. But like you know how in BioShock they have the like huge statues and it's very utopia looking and kind of futuristic but kind of not. Like things are kind of the same, but they like have a like big futuristic blimps floating around using jets and shit, but it's still a blimp.
Yeah, it's like a Deco Punk where everything kind of has like this Art Deco
Yeah,
aesthetic
definitely.
to it, but it
Yeah.
is still kind of futury.
Yes. So it's got kind of that vibe. And then so we just kind of get a pan over of the city and we're immediately introduced to an old people party. And I mean that exactly how it sounds. It's a giant party full of old people. And it kind of looks like a gala event, but it looks like a gala event where people are getting fucked up because one of the first scenes is grandma doing drugs.
Yeah, that's what
So
grandmas
that's
do.
a good start. And then some gang called the Red Eye Gang breaks in and starts robbing all the old people of their dentures and their wallets and their prescription medications. And so that happens for a while. The old people are screaming. The gang is laughing. And then, in true superhero movie fashion, then the heroes show up. And the first one, and we're going to go through this the way that I learned what each of these characters were named. There's a dude throwing forks. There's clearly an escaped miner. He's got the helmet with a shovel and looks like he was in the mines and then ran directly out of them to come here. And then we have Ben Stiller, who's basically playing the character of Zoolander, but with a Batman-esque voice when he talks to the villains. And the three of them collectively get their asses handed to themselves because the Red Eye Gang beats the shit out of them. The escaped miner accidentally hits fucking Batlander, Zoolander, Zooman
Now,
in
when
the
you say
face.
escaped miner,
Yeah.
miners aren't like prisoners. They could
No,
leave
I
whenever
know.
they want.
But he like looks like he just escaped a mine and then went to go fight
Could
crime.
I mean, couldn't he have just gotten off his shift and didn't have time to go home?
I guess, yeah.
You don't escape a mine. You just leave it,
Look,
man.
I don't know if you'd continue to wear that outfit of your own volition.
If I were a superhero centered around a shovel, I would.
Yeah, fair.
He's the original Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight?
You know Shovel Knight.
I feel
Shut
like
up.
I do, but no.
Shovel Knight is like an action platformer, like 8-bit style game that's like all over the place. It's fantastic. Shovel Knight.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Fact checker, post a picture of Shovel Knight or a GIF. That's probably faster.
Thank you, fact checker. All right, we'll circle back to that at a later time. So they get their asses handed to them. Ben Stiller is easily the shittiest one of the three of them. He does fuck all. He says some shit like, "You're not gonna like me when I'm angry," and then he just kind of flails and does literally nothing. And then some Captain Amazing homie shows up to actually save the day, and he pretty much looks like the equivalent of if a NASCAR driver was turned into a superhero, because he's kind of wearing the superhero-ish outfit, but it's covered in sponsorships. So he saves the day, and then one of the old people talks to the other three heroes as they debate whether he's going to take the credit or not. And And the old guy's like, you guys need firepower. I'm a weapon designer. But they think he's like an old man that's batshit crazy and a few screws shy of a machine. So they just start talking to him in a super like demeaning. Okay, uh-huh. No, we'll come back to visit you and everybody here. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And he's like, douchebags. I'm not from the old folks home. I just want to hit on the old ladies, which is also
Yeah.
funny. So they take his card, but they still think he's fucking crazy. So fucking Captain Asswipe gets all the credit for saving the day and signs all the paperwork, takes all the photos, all that good shit, gets in the limo.
I do like how this character is exactly what would happen if we had any kind of Superman figure in our modern day
Oh god, yes.
economical setting, where it's just like
The
brought to you by Mountain
endorsements?
Dew, like
Yeah.
nonstop, just fucking a flying advertisement.
Oh god, yes. So then he's in the limo and his publicist is telling him that he's losing sponsorships because he's put all the real criminals away. So he, needs to rustle up some conflict. Sorry, I was gonna skip over this note, but Ben Stiller's character is literally the character of fucking Zoolander. There are so many lines that I'm like, this is the same delivery.
Yep.
So then we find out that Captain Douche is like fucking Superman, where he has a bullshit hidden identity that no one in actual reality would fall for because the man just wears fucking glasses. And everyone's like, oh my god, it's a different person named Lance. And then he takes them off and puts on his fucking advertisement suit, and suddenly he's Captain Amazing.
Now,
Uh,
I know that people like to harp on Superman for that, but honestly, like, there's that photo of like Zoe Deschanel with like her hair up instead of having bangs, and like she's unrecognizable.
but this man
And
has the same hairstyle.
they're making fun of it, yes, but I
Yes.
mean, like, Superman is different, and some like things even say that Superman's glasses have like a quartz that hypnotizes people. I think it's stupid, but I think that it's a matter of what you want to believe is kind of what makes it.
I suppose, but I feel like even in Superman, maybe I'm wrong. I feel like he styles his hair slightly differently when he's
Like,
Clark
if
Kent.
there's a superheroine that was Kim Kardashian and I saw her like change out of her outfit, I'd be like, I have no idea who that is.
Okay, to be fair, here, to continue on that line of thinking, if I just saw Superman in the newspapers all the time and then saw a dude on the street wearing glasses that looked like Superman, I suppose no, I probably would not immediately put two and two together because these newspaper photos probably aren't like crazy clear images of his face, and even if they are, I'm probably not cataloging it in my brain enough unless I'm like an insane fan.
I do think it is hilarious. Like, okay, if it's somebody you personally know, and then you see them in their mask and they're talking, you're like, "You're Jake. I know you. Like,
Yeah.
I've known you forever." But like, I do think it's funny when they have like the big barrel chested Superman, like in cartoons and comic books, and he's in his glasses and fucking suit and tie, and he's towering over everybody else, and it's just nobody's gonna ask the question.
Nobody's gonna be like, you lift, bro?
Like a regular guy in glasses, sure. Like, oh, I wouldn't think twice at that person, Superman. Look at how like weenie he is. But then you're like, this guy's built like a fucking brick shit house.
Goddamn tank.
You know, looking at him closer because he sticks out like a sore thumb. That guy kind of fucking looks like Superman, huh? I think my favorite is the Watchmen. Watchmen's coming up a lot in this, I noticed.
I do like Watchmen. We are talking about superheroes, and that's an exceptional superhero.
Well, I mean, Watchmen
Movie,
is supposed
comic.
to be a commentary on the superhero.
Oh yeah, it's a great
the comic book
commentary on
superhero.
superheroes because it's like this is the shit that would actually happen if superheroes were legitimate people.
Yeah, and I know that like my favorite alter ego is Rorschach's is fucking perfect because you see him throughout the movie and he's just like, a fucking crazy hobo with like the end is nigh signs that he's just holding up nonstop.
Uh-huh. And you
It's
don't even
fucking
realize
great.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a crazy hobo. It's true. But yeah, so we learn that Captain Amazing has a bullshit secret identity that is Lance Hunt or some shit like that. So then as Lance, he like goes to a parole hearing for one of his worst supervillains, and the psychologist that works with this supervillain says that he's reformed. Lance shows up and goes, "Oh, I talked to Captain Amazing, my really good friend recently, and he
Now, if you're gonna pull
said."
that shit, fuck off.
I
Like,
know,
you look a
like,
lot like Superman, bro.
ah. Yeah, I was like, you can't pull the Peter Parker, my friend Spider-Man, if you're gonna fucking wear the suit to the goddamn meeting. Stop it. Um, so yeah, he shows up and he's like, "My friend Captain Amazing told me over dinner last night that he believes in second chances and thinks this supervillain over here that psychologist says he's reformed should be freed into the world." His name's his name's Casanova Frankenstein, by the way, which is an
Which is the
exceptional fucking
fucking
name.
dopest name
It
ever. I always
really
think
is.
about it.
It's wonderful.
I know that the miner is the digger.
What? No, his name's a shoveler.
The shoveler. I'm stupid. And then there's Blue Raja, the
Yes.
fork thrower. Fucking fantastic.
Yeah, so we'll get there.
Played by
'cause
Hank Azaria. Oh, right, yeah.
I learned these things. Ben Stiller's character took me the longest to figure out what the fuck he was called, so we'll get there.
I don't even remember.
So he uses his fucking influence as the billionaire bachelor of the city. I don't really know what fucking role he plays, politician. I don't fucking know what he does in his not superhero time. I don't know if it goes into it or if I just missed it. I put a note, he doesn't even change his hair when he shows up to the meeting. It's not even like it's groomed differently. So then we flash over to our shitty superheroes, and they're debating their outfits, how to do better at their job, and just generally beefing with each other. And then Ben Stiller's character isn't totally stupid because he points out that Lance Hunt is just Captain What's-His-Face, and then points out the fallacy of the glasses not being a huge difference, which I thought was funny that they discussed. And then I think the shoveler says something like, "No, what?" And Ben Stiller looks at him like he's fucking stupid. So they're like on the street having this debate with each other about their failed attempt to save the old people. And then they see two dudes called the Disco Boys who are dressed absolutely fabulously. And that's kind of like it. He's like, "Let's follow them so that we can see what they're up to." And the other two are like, "No, I think I'm just going to go home because it's been a long day." So they see the two dudes called the Disco Boys that are dressed absolutely fabulously. And then I have a note, all of Ben Stiller's quips are so garbage. Is he playing the same character in every movie at this point in time?
We've already established that half the time, yes.
Yes, I know. I just apparently noted it a lot at the beginning of the film because I think I was appalled. So then the shoveler goes home, and I don't know why the fuck they spent so much time showing this, but he pulls his car up, it rolls onto a toy stuffed dinosaur, and he bends over like he's gonna pick it up, but it's stuck under the fucking wheel, so he just rips it in half. I don't understand the purpose of that, but...
Of that shot?
Yes.
Well, that shot is meant to show that he is trying to be a role model, a father, have responsibility, the do-gooder, but ultimately tear everything in half.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So yeah, on that vein, his wife lectures him about how he has a family and can't be doing this shit anymore. And his response is, "I shovel well. Very well." And then she says something sexual about how he shovels the best she's ever seen shovel. Tells him that his shoveling skills don't make him a superhero. So apparently his next career is porn. I don't know. And then the scene is also filmed from an angle where his wife is like holding his face with her, you know those big dishwashing gloves that people wear?
The big yellow ones from that were really big in the 80s, 90s. Like every
Yeah,
sitcom
she's
had
wearing
them.
like those kinds.
Dexter's mom's gloves.
Yes, exactly. So she's wearing those and grabbing his face. So of course the camera angle is her wearing these gloves, grabbing the camera with her like thumbs in the frame. So it's this like really awkward shot where she's like holding the camera and you see these huge gloves off to the side. And then we go over to the Blue Raja, who I believe is named Jeffrey. And when they were debating costumes, Ben Stiller was like, "You're not even blue, dude." Uh, so the blue, not blue Raja lives with his mom. He apparently has no British accent when he is not dressed up in his superhero outfit. And then we scoot over to the recently released supervillain Casanova Frankenstein meets up with his disco boys. And who's shocked? He's back to his evil ways and is not a reformed villain. Plot twist, I know. And the psychiatrist that vouched for him is actually his girlfriend, Joker. And he blows up the asylum that he was just released from. It's crazy. And then Captain Hoslice goes to meet up with Casanova Frankenstein, and they have a nincompoop level fucking back and forth was awful. And Captain Asshat thinks that taking down Casanova is going to be super fucking easy and just one big publicity stunt for him to get his Pepsi sponsorship back. And instead, Casanova Frankenstein chloroforms him and captures him. And then I know I'm so fucking curious what Zoolander's power is. Because he gets yelled at by this lady who runs a scrapyard, who's apparently his boss during his daytime hours. And he like says something like the rage is coming, and he looks like he's gonna shit himself. And then he starts
That's what happens if you get really mad.
and then he starts aggressively squeezing a squish ball in her face, and then tells her that she's lucky that he calmed down, because something about like a volcano never knows when it's gonna burst. I don't know. And then we hear a news feed that's like, the city is looking for Captain Amazing's. They're like looking for Lance to help us find Captain Amazing. Or, sorry, they're looking for Captain Amazing to help them find the missing Lance Hunt. And they can't contact Captain Amazing for some odd reason. So then we flash over, and Casanova's telling Captain Amazing he's gonna kill him, and fucking Captain Sellout sits there and tries to bribe Casanova into not killing him by asking to be his sidekick, which does not work. We go back to the dynamic trio, and my only note on this scene of whatever they were doing is, dude, these three are dumb as hell. They just argue with each other.
Yeah.
And then I wrote...
It's basically what if... the Three Stooges were superheroes. That's what this movie is.
Exactly.
It's a movie about failures.
I understand what it's about. Let me have my commentary. You asked for my description. I didn't ask for your justifications.
Oh, it wasn't a justification. It's an excuse for sure.
And then my next note is, when is Smash Mouth happening? So they go to try to fight the Disco Boys. They get their asses absolutely handed to them. They have like... Oh, I remember what scene I said they were dumb as hell. They're like trying to cross a lawn, and they hear the sound of some sort of machinery engaging, and one of them is like, "Oh, that's the sound of the one that reads movement. We shouldn't move until it like disengages." And then the other one says something about it being a heat sensor, and they're all going to get shot if they don't run faster. So they're just standing there like yelling at each other instead of doing anything. So they get their asses beat by the Disco Boys, and then they go back to some diner that they like to wallow at, and they begin talking about recruiting more people, and the excuse... They start saying that so many people want to join their cause because they like their vibe. And then they like get real hyped on recruiting, and they do some weird dumb little finger touch thing. And then fucking Ben Stiller tries very sadly to hit on a waitress that he yelled at the last time they were in the diner. It does not go well. So their first line of recruiting is to go find this kid named Invisible Boy, and he says he is only visible when no one is watching.
Yeah.
They
Hell yeah.
are about to ditch
Played
him.
by Kel Mitchell, by the way.
They're about to ditch him when he says that he knows a bunch of other superheroes because he hangs around superhero shops and costume shops and shit all day. So they adopt the child anyway so that he can fill them in on his roster of people that he knows. And then the best fucking character ever shows up. They're at the diner debating this list of potential recruits, and some dude named the Spleen, who,
Yeah.
fact checker, who is he played by?
Paul Rubin.
Paul Rubin? I meant to
Paul
write
Rubin.
that down.
That's the guy who plays Pee Wee Herman.
Yes, he is also in the movie Blow, where he plays a wildly different person.
Yeah,
And that's what I recognized him from.
He's got
and
more range than Ben Stiller.
Yeah, I just really liked his character in the movie Blow, which is why I got excited to see him. So he does like an awkward, sort of lispy saunter over to their table, and he kind of looks like Death on legs because he's super pale with like really red eye, like really red bloodshot eyes, I guess. Well, it's not like his eyes are bloodshot, it's like the edges of his eyelids. Anyway, but he tells the story about how a fortune teller woman gave him powers that allowed him to death fart on people. And then what I'm pretty sure happens here, because he reaches behind himself and suddenly clothespins are produced. So I'm pretty sure he unclothespins his asshole and then murder farts like 8 people in the diner. Like just shoots death farts at them and now they're dead in this diner.
I do not think they're dead. He is a hero.
I don't know, dude. He says they're deadly and then they KO. So it kind of seems like they're murdered and it's just not talked about.
I don't think that's the case.
Well, that's what it seemed like to me.
That would be what it seemed like to you.
Yes. So then the Invisible Boy says that they should throw a party for all of these possible recruits because he says something like it's like mooching's big in this crowd, which was a great line. So the shoveler throws a party for the superheroes at his house and his wife is like, what the absolute fuck? And then so they're sitting at a table for people to like come and do signups at. And fucking Dane Cook introduces himself as some waffly bitch. And
he's the waffler.
Yeah, and produces a waffle iron and with truth syrup. They continue to interview a slew of absolutely terrible heroes, and the ballerina man is my favorite. At some point, 2 Wonder Women show up and they fight because they have the same outfit, because what 90s movie doesn't have a girl fight?
Yep.
And
boxing, real big in the 90s.
Yeah,
Also Dane Cook.
The
staples of bad movies.
Yeah, that was a really young Dane Cook, too. Like very young Dane Cook.
That's like right before he blew up and was fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
He was inescapable for like, there's 5 years straight where you couldn't walk 2 steps without seeing something with him in it or hearing him.
Yeah, he was real popular for a quick minute. And then this chick, like the party's kind of over. They feel like they've failed. And this chick with a bowling ball bag comes and she fucking rocks their world. They tell her they're not interested and she pulls this skull bowling ball that kind of looks like what the fuck is the movie? Something with Martians where they have their like brain coming out of the top of their weird skull heads.
You're not talking about Mars Attacks, are you?
Yes, Mars Attacks. Absolutely.
You know like 0 movies.
Well, I just don't always know the names off the top of my head. Like if you said Mars Attacks, I could draw you the fucking cover art, but vice versa, not so much. But the skull in her bowling ball kind of looks like a Mars Attacks skull.
Well, they're meant to look skull-like. That's
no, they have like big blorpy skulls.
Yeah.
It's not like, if I'm recalling correctly.
Yeah, I mean they do look like skull people, like that's their
yeah, but
like their whole deal.
Yes, they're meant to look like skulls, but they have like the big rounded top heads.
Yeah,
is what
like
I'm saying.
it's a skull with a big brain is what's happening.
Yeah, and the skull in her ball is kind of that same vibe where it has kind of like an overly
Yeah,
sized
yeah.
dome.
The skull in her ball is very reminiscent of
Mars
skulls.
Attacks. Yes.
Is what I was getting at.
Yes,
Like a
it
hat,
is
not
very
hat on a hat.
reminiscent of Bones. uh, so
Played by
then
Janine Garofalo. Like she's my favorite character in the movie. Fantastic.
her character I have more to say about later, but yes, I agree. Um, so she produces her skull ball and bowls at them, and the skull ball goes flying and creates a bunch of destruction. So then they're like, "Oh, maybe we should hang out with you." Oh, and then here's my note about her character. Her and fucking Ben Stiller's character are like equal but opposite characters because he's fucking useless, and then the opposite part is she is extremely useful and actually has skill. But then they get into these arguments where he's like, maybe you should have told me. And she goes, maybe you should have told me. And they'll go back and forth like that for like a literal 30 seconds. So we learn that her bowling ball has her superhero father's skull in it, which is how it has its powers.
I still don't understand quite how that equates
I don't
to
fucking know either. I
like
don't.
was his power like was because he was a superhero. We know that.
Yeah, he
Was his
was
superpower telekinesis with his skull, even in death?
maybe.
Because I don't.
I really do not know. It's not explained at all. I don't know if she has her own authentic superpowers either, or if she just releases her vengeful daddy skull to fight things.
Yeah,
So then I gotta be honest, I don't know what happens between this scene where they're in the shoveler's backyard and them suddenly being in a car chase with Casanova Frankenstein, but it happens. And then at
did you
some
doze
point,
off or something?
I like looked away for
You
like
missed
10
an
fucking
entire
seconds.
scene where they're like at a bar and then Casanova Frankenstein comes in and entices them. I'm making that up. I have no
I was
earthly
like,
idea.
there's no way. I didn't pay attention for like 10 seconds. I missed like the transition of them getting in a car or some shit. But anyway, so they have a car chase scene with Casanova Frankenstein, and then eventually they pull up next to each other to beef it out verbally, and we find out that the Disco Boys killed her daddy, and her daddy's name is Sal, sorry, Carmine, the bowler. And so they get into a big fight. The Blue Raja, who's famous for his fantastic fork throwing, does some shit to the car, scrapes the side of it, and pretty much like everyone's helpful. And then there's Ben Stiller literally just flopping like a fish on the hood of the car. And he is what I imagine Batman would be if Batman did not have billions of dollars at his disposal. Like, I'm pretty sure that would be the exact layout. So they basically just kind of like vandalize Casanova's car because the bowling ball breaks the windows. Raja, takes forks to the paint job, and the shoveler shovels the side of the car. So he actually does a shit ton of denting damage. And then there's Ben Stiller. So then, when they're done vandalizing it, Casanova and the Disco Boys get out actual guns. So they have to, drive away really fast to not get shot. Everyone thinks that fucking. Oh my god, I don't even know if I know her character's name. The girl with the
It's
bowling ball.
um Patty
Sure.
Mayonnaise.
We're gonna go with Mayonnaise. So everybody thinks Mayonnaise is batshit crazy because she talks to her bowling ball father all the time. And clearly Spleen wants every part of that, and she says, no, absolutely not. They get super drunk to celebrate them in antagonizing Casanova and the Disco Boys. And then while they're drunk, they get cornered by the Disco Boys in an alley, and a bunch of them are pointing guns at them, and then suddenly their guns get cut in half before they can be fired. And one of the Disco Boys, so all the Disco Boys run away. One of them has the absolute best getaway I've ever seen in any fucking hero movie or any sort of action film. He runs down the alley and he hops into one of those carts that's dragged by a bike. And then they find out this dude named the Sphinx is the one that cut their guns in half and saved them. So then they kind of hang out with the Sphinx because the Sphinx is wise and has a lot of leadership skills and shit. And at one point, the Shoveler throws a real low blow at Ben Stiller's character and says that they need the Sphinx's leadership because that's what they're lacking. And that's kind of the only thing that Ben Stiller has brought to the table is like a pseudo version of leadership because he's definitely
Yes.
also not good at that. And then Smash Mouth plays for like 5 seconds. It only
Yeah.
plays for like 5 seconds while they're doing a montage of them doing a firewalk. That's it. And then it's
Yeah.
done. And then I put, oh my god, they reference Zoolander.
I'm sorry. How long does it play in Shrek?
I think it plays a whole fucking song in Shrek, dude.
It does not play the whole fucking song in Shrek.
I'm pretty sure it does.
Look up the music video for Smash Mouth. The official Smash Mouth All-Star music video is just the movie.
Look, I will figure out how
You
long
won't.
it played in Shrek, and we will get back to this debate, but I'm pretty sure it plays for more than 5 fucking seconds.
I'm pretty sure that
making
it
a
doesn't
note.
matter anyway because it was made for Mystery Men. The song is a Mystery Men song.
That's
That's it.
fine.
That's-
but I'm
that's
just
it.
letting you know. I'm letting you know. Okay, so I made a quote that they quoted Zoolander, but that's not true because it came out in 2001. Thank you, fact checker. Because he goes, "You want to go left, you have to go right." So I put, "Oh my god, they reference Zoolander." And then he has a whole speech about not wanting any of the Sphinx's shit, and Ben Stiller leaves. The team decides to stay and goes forth into the depths of that one weapon guy's house, the dude from before that was really just fucking old ladies and not batshit crazy.
That's a good description of him, yeah.
Yeah, in his
Can't you say
home,
the weapon guy?
I did say the weapon guy, and then I was.
I know, but you like recapped his whole thing.
Yes, because I don't know, he was barely in the beginning. He has a chicken in his house. That's it.
That's it. That's an important detail.
Yep. Ben Stiller goes back to his sad diner and he finally kind of drops his like douchebag bullshit act while hitting on the waitress, so she finally agrees to let him walk her home. The rest of the squad finds out that the weapon guy does not actually make anything deadly, so they're like, fuck you, and they leave. And then he proves that his shit is actually helpful by throwing a canned tornado at them, which is also kind of funny. So then they go and buy a bunch of his cool ass shit. And then we flash back to Ben Stiller walking the pretty girl home, and she suggests that perhaps he should chill the fuck out and just be his genuine self. She did it in a much nicer way than I just worded it. So at the final hour before the major fight, he tries to rejoin their cause and has a horribly awkward conversation with the shoveler where he's clearly trying to be kind of emotionally vulnerable and it's going awkward. So then he starts going, "The rage is coming!" And bullshitting weirdness ensues. So then Casanova and the Disco Boys, which is a great band name, TM, are throwing a rager with lethal frat houses, rappers, and a slew of other like cliques of people, I guess. But the lethal frat houses made me laugh, and then the fact that there was just rappers also made me laugh. And Casanova announces his machine that's going to help him take over the city. And then we go back to them trying to break into Casanova's house, and the spleen is getting humped by a skunk. And I put, because they both smell. Makes sense.
Huh.
I was like, why is he being humped by a skunk? Oh, because they both stink.
Got it.
So then they find Captain Twat Waffle strapped to this chair in Casanova's machine. And the shoveler is sitting there and he's holding up like 2 circular objects that have the middle cut out of them, like faux glasses. And he keeps holding them up to his eyes. And then he's like, oh my god, it is Lance Hunt! And finally believes Ben Stiller's character that it's the fucking rich billionaire dude, politician, whatever the fuck he is, and that's the superhero. So then Lance/Captain Asswipe tells them to flip a bunch of switches using horrible instructions while also berating them and insulting their intelligence, which ultimately results in the incorrect switches being flipped. that turns him into what I will affectionately refer to as like dead crispy jerky because he dies.
Yeah,
Um,
he's
so
dead.
yeah, the team done did barbecued him, and then
On
uh,
accident.
well, it was on his instruction. He told them to flip the fucking switch, and they asked like 30 times if he was sure. He was not sure. So Team Excepcional escapes, but a singular fork is left behind. Bum bum bum. So, Casanova Frankenstein knows who has come after him.
Wait a minute.
Hold
This
on,
is
who had
famous Blue
lunch in
Raj's
here?
fork.
Yeah. So then they go back to their hideout, which is now the fucking like weapon guy's house with his chicken. So they start arguing about Casanova's machine and how it's going to destroy everyone in the city, and they're scared to fight. And then the shoveler, who has a rather exceptional character arc where he goes from really not being the leader of the group and just kind of following to becoming sort of the like personal motivator of the group. And so, backed by the chicken, he gives a very rousing speech that convinces everybody that they need to prepare themselves to go fight or die trying. So Blue Raja goes home to his mom, and he finally has the courage to tell his mom what he does, that he's a weird ass superhero with an accent, and he throws forks. And because this is also a weird ass superhero movie, mom is instantly on board and starts giving him her fancy china forks.
Hold on. You did say something that I think is kind of inaccurate. You called this a superhero movie. That is not. That's not what this is.
Yeah, that's fair. None of them really have powers other
This
than
is
the skull creature.
well, even then, like it's not like it's like a parody movie before superhero tropes were a thing. Therefore, they could parody.
Yes, I
You know, like
understand.
it's like a scary movie before
No, it's
the superhero
100% like
movies.
a hero parody movie. Like it's a
Yeah.
parody of I don't think The Dark Knight came out and like
Nope.
until several years later, but this is
Nor Spider
basically a
Man.
parody of so much of that.
Yeah. It's basically a parody of just comic books in general. I think Mystery Men might be based on a comic book.
Perhaps that would make sense.
Fact checker.
Um,
Also worth noting that the shoveler is played by William H. Macy, an incredible actor.
yes,
He's
there
the
are
dude
so
from
many
Shameless.
famous people in this
Oh,
movie. It's
oh yeah.
ridiculous. It's absurd. Just look up the cast list because I'm not gonna do it for you. So Blue Raja's mom is also like weirdly into the fact that he's a superhero. Like it just all of it comes off as really creepy.
Really quickly, thank you, fact checker. Yes, based on Bob Burden's Flaming Carrot comics. That's right.
Oh,
I
neat.
knew that.
Check that shit out. So then we go see the shoveler. He's telling her his wife that he loves her and goodbye, and she's like, "I'm not gonna be here when you get back because I can't be your superhero wife anymore." And he very stoically goes, "That's a risk I'm gonna have to take." And she looks a little turned on, and then it flashes to the dog's face, and the dog looks worried. And then Ben Stiller, whose character I noted, whose character and hero name I literally still do not know, visits the waitress to say goodbye. And I put, is she his only loved one? LOL.
Yes.
And then I put, oh, she also doesn't know his name because she asks. And he starts listing like 17 names, and he's like, the Phoenix, Dark Phoenix, Dirk the Dark Phoenix, Dark Dirk, Dirk Dark Phoenix, Phoenix Dark Dirk, Dirkity Dark Phoenix. And so she's like, all right, fuck this shit, and starts leaving. And he goes, my name's Roy. And so, of course, this is a very momentous admission. So she
Yeah.
runs back down the stairs and kisses him passionately before reminding him to just be himself. He then has an entire identity crisis about the fact that he has
Yes.
been claiming to have superpowers that he does not have, which are his rage machine superpowers. And so they start talking about, well, you moved that bus that one time. And he goes, well, I kind of pushed it and it was on wheels. And they're like, that's still a lot. Like, that's heavy. And he goes, yeah, the driver might have had his foot on the accelerator. So I don't know how much I was pushing, but I pushed a little. So it helped some. So then at one point after he had left, the fucking Sphinx had made them all make incredibly flashy costumes. And let me tell you, the reveal for those, fucking incredible. They're fantastic. And then the Blue Raja. So they get in this like fucking tank thing. And the Blue Raja goes, may the forks be with us, which is
Yeah.
easily the best line of the entire film.
Absolutely.
So they're trying to hype Roy back into being aggro and furious. So they're just insulting him endlessly. And the Sphinx says that he's dressed like a male prostitute. And everyone in the tank is just like, yeah. And then the continuous stream of insults isn't working. So everybody begins to panic. And then the shoveler, who again, great character arc developed into leadership, says, we've got a blind date with Destiny. And it looks like she ordered the lobster. So does that mean they have to fuck her?
No, what?
We got a blind date with Destiny, and it looks like she ordered the lobster. The stereotype is that like if the girl orders the most expensive thing on the menu, the lobster, like she has to have sex with you.
And it depends on the market price, I guess.
But it also like kind of makes sense with the fact that they're about to go fight Casanova Frankenstein and like his crew. So it's like we got a blind date with Destiny. It looks like she ordered the lobster. So like they're going to get fucked over. Or they're going to fuck her. I don't know what it is. I don't know which one is which, but that was my first thought. So they crash their tank thing into Casanova's like weird sexy party with the frat boys. And the tank gets crazy shot up until they reveal this giant magnet off the top of it that sucks up everybody's guns and belts. Because there's an entire scene where this dude, well, maybe not entire scene, there's a moment where this dude's belt flies off. And then you can see his cheetah print banana hammock.
Yeah, that was the other one. We talked about it some episodes ago about whatever happened to like the heart print boxers.
Yeah,
Like
whatever happened to
gets
cheetah
pants.
print banana hammocks.
It's one of the two. It's always one or the other. There is no in between.
No, those are your options. There was no such thing as boxer briefs.
Actually, sometimes there were the banana hammocks were tiger print, tiger stripes instead of
this is
spotted.
true. But either way, like cat animal print.
Yes, absolutely. It's a staple.
Yes. So Casanova's team, after losing all their weaponry, falls back behind this door that's guarded by a laser that turns people into ashes. So Invisible Boy is like, it's my time. And he uses his power that he apparently genuinely has because he does turn invisible and he loses his clothes in the process. And then, so he turns around and they start making a lot of dick jokes. Like, someone says Ben Stiller does like a whole cocked head, looks closer, and makes a comment about it being big. And then the Blue Raja says something like, you should cover that with both hands, my boy. And I just put, how old does boy imply? Because I thought this kid was like 17. So after that weird moment, they get to the other side of the door, and there's some.
There were a lot more penis-sized jokes in the 90s for sure.
Yes, but this movie delivers all of them horribly, because then we get to this next moment in time, and because this also, I feel like this movie doesn't have a lot of sexual jokes until like this snippet of fight. It's very odd. So there's like some go-go dancers on the other side of the laser door, and they start trying to fight them, and they use the clothes shrinking ray with the idea that their clothes shrink so much that they're too uncomfortable to breathe or fight. And fucking Ben Stiller, Roy, says, hey, my pants feel like they shrank too. Ha ha ha. And I was like, what the fuck? And that's like
classic.
That's like the only two dick jokes in that entire movie. Were just those like two scenes back to back. And so then we see them fighting a bunch of people. At one point, the shoveler's doing kind of a one-on-one, and he loses his shovel, and he pulls out a garden trowel, like those little tiny garden shovels, like it's a dagger, which was a great joke. And whoever came up with that, here's your gold medal, because that was fantastic. So they're kind of like genuinely winning the fight until Roy's waitress love interest is now captured and a hostage. And I noted, when did Casanova have time to leave this party, go get her, and then why the fuck would he come back? Cuz like shit's not going well. Why did you go get her and come back? So then Ben Stiller tries to save her, and being his character, he is not very useful or suave. So he literally, fucking Casanova and the waitress are like up a flight of stairs. Instead of just running up the stairs, he runs up to the wall like he's gonna fucking scale it, and just starts clawing at the side of the wall like a cat,
Yeah,
and
he's
making
angry and stupid.
absolutely, yeah, making absolutely no purchase. So then the Blue Raja is like, I got you, buddy, and starts shooting forks into the wall
Yeah.
so that he can use them to climb up the wall.
To scale the wall, yeah, like
Yep.
stairs, or yeah.
Yeah. So he scales the wall, and then Casanova fucking hands his ass to him, and then he truly rages, like genuinely. And he
Yeah.
kicks Casanova's ass, and I put, but not even in a cool way, in a super campy ass doofy way. And I was like, damn, they couldn't even give his character like one cool scene. He's just fucking a nerd the whole time. And then he fucking kicks off the balcony railing and jumps down, which with the waitress in his arms, which definitely should have broken his fucking legs.
Yeah, but he had like super adrenaline power. He has a real superpower. He's super angry. It gives him hysterical strength. That's a real thing.
I like the concept of calling it hysterical strength.
Well, yeah, I mean that is what it's actually like
Is that
scientifically
what it's
called.
called when you get an adrenaline rush
Yeah,
and you
like
can
when
like
you're
lift a car off of your child?
because your muscles have way more capabilities than we're able to do. There's like
Yes.
mental limiters that makes it so that you can't punch as hard as you actually can punch because you break your hand. So
Yeah, pain inhibitors stop us from doing a lot of cool shit, and if you don't have
Yeah.
those, you just go.
and hysterical strength is like tapping into that. So that's why yes, like mothers can pick up cars is because
Yeah.
the adrenaline rush, the panic is making them able to push past those limiters.
Fair enough. So he has his hysterical strength and maybe breaks his legs.
It's a
I
thing.
guess he'll find
It's a thing.
he'll find out later. No, I agree with you. I figured that's what
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
but I was like, when is he gonna figure out that he broke both of his heels jumping off the fucking balcony? So then they go to the machine that Casanova is using to blow up the city, and they have to try to disengage it. So the way that they choose to do that is with a giant group hug, and then Mayonnaise. I forgot we named her that.
It's Patty Mayonnaise.
Patty Mayonnaise.
She's an
holds-
original character. That name has never been used in anything ever before, especially a cartoon that was on Nickelodeon, Disney, I forget.
You like that I watched yesterday. So Patty Mayonnaise is part of the group hug, and she holds her bowling ball father up and puts him into the like laser beam jet stream to destroy the machine, which works. Everything blows up.
Oh,
And then there's a lady covering the news outside of this now absolutely destroyed building, talking about how they don't know who saved the day, but thank you to those people. And right as she says that, they come out of the like ashy, dirty, musty fog that has been produced by this building getting crushed. And they're alive and saved the day. So then they start getting all the crowd and fanfare that they've been wanting this whole time. And then Smash Mouth finally fucking plays. And Smash Mouth plays through the credits.
somebody once told me.
And I wrote, I don't think you can count that as their debut when it's just the credit song, but if it's made for that fucking movie, I don't know what to tell you.
Yes. Well, it's like, like there's a bunch of like songs that are like Amazing Spider-Man had some really weird poppy songs that nobody remembers. I think Rihanna did it. I don't remember, but like when it gets to the credits, like the song starts playing, you're like, this has nothing to do with Spider-Man. That's kind of the situation. Not to
Yep.
be confused with Into the Spider-Verse, because all of the songs slap and actually do fit
That's
like
pretty
Miles.
funny. The rumors have persisted through the years that Smash Mouth, the band behind the 1999 hit All Stars, unhappy with being associated with the film Shrek, he came out to say that he is actually very proud to be part of the film.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
funny.
just like that. It feels like somebody like was trying to drum up like they too were thinking it's the Shrek song, so they tried to
Yeah,
drum up like, no, they actually are ashamed of it, when that's totally not true.
I love 20 years later, many of the hand-picked songs, also including Hallelujah, David Bowie's Changes, are also attributed as Shrek songs.
Yeah.
Ah, that's so funny.
I probably wouldn't care as much if I liked Shrek, but I just don't.
Quote, we are the Shrek band. What are you gonna do? You can't fight it? I just embrace it. You've gotta be a good sport about it.
Yeah, some bands
Ah,
they get kind of pigeonholed into a thing, and the smart thing is to just write it. Like how like Creed is known as being like a Christian rock band. They're super not. They're not even a little. And
mm-hmm.
like the front man even said like we're not a Christian band, but if people could hear our music and make the connection to a message for themselves, power to them, but we're not.
Yeah.
Another one that gets on my nerves is some people have made the argument that The Killer's Mr. Brightside is a song about God, and I cannot disagree more.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like if you like it's clearly a song about the dude's girlfriend like fucking some other guy. You can't hide a message of God in
Yeah,
sex.
what?
It does not. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Like you
It's
could be,
not.
and some people are like, well, they're Mormon. It's like that's fine. You could be like a religious. You could be religious and be in a band and not have it intersect. Like Paramore is another big one. They're all of them are like super Christian. I forget which sect of Christian, but they don't play it in their music.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Yeah, I always think that's really interesting. I might have told this story already, but I once sent two songs to a friend of mine at the time that was really into EDM music.
it was me and they
And
sucked.
no, and I sent like a more EDM style song that was about God.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I sent an acoustic song and they texted me back and said something about not listening to the acoustic song, and I asked why, and they told me it was because it was a Jesus-y song. And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I
Now,
was like, "The EDM one you're listening to is literally about God. Like he
to be
he
fair,
talks about his relationship with God."
I mean, to be fair, like he said Jesus-y. That doesn't mean a song about Jesus. It's
No,
saying
no,
like
he meant it like
first.
he meant it like I forget what the wording was, but he was asking me if it was a Christian band. And I was like,
Okay,
"No, what the fuck?" And he goes, "Well, it's acoustic." And I was like, Those aren't mutually exclusive."
yeah. You know who is a Christian band, and I'm prepared to die on this hill. Don't at me. Depeche Mode is a Christian band.
Give me your facts.
The entire album, Songs of Faith and Confession. That's an album
Mhm.
featuring songs like Personal Jesus and Condemnation.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking, did that blow past your radar?
That's fair. I just wanted you to state the facts for the court, okay?
Like, I know that Dave Gahan has come out and said that he's not religious, he's spiritual, and that's fair, but like his songs are like the entire album is very clearly about God. In fact, I would almost argue that Personal Jesus is their least Christian song. It's because it's a personal Jesus. like what you would find faith in.
Yeah.
But everything else, nah, Condemnation is a super one. I'm taking a ride with my best friend. That's Jesus, bro.
Jesus, take the wheel.
What's that other song? There's a song that came out recently that I did like, but I was listening to thinking that is fucking super about God. Hold on.
That is fucking super about God.
Let's not forget the song Heaven. Like it's all over the place. The song Martyr, Behind the Wheel. Like I'm just finding more. If you open up Depeche Mode lyrics and just like maybe not their older stuff, like past like Black Celebration and Violator, like all of those songs, and you just start reading their lyrics out, it kind of sounds pretty sermony.
I like maybe not their old songs, Violator
And Black Celebration, which is a very kind of, a Black Celebration. It's kind of like a gothic, almost witchy song.
I was gonna say I looked up Depeche Mode Christian band, and a Christian website discusses the level of Christianism in Depeche Mode, and it says while they don't explicitly identify as a Christian band, they often delve into the topics of sin, salvation, the search for life, temptation.
John the Revelator, come on. Oh, it is Songs of Faith and Devotion is the album name, not Songs of Faith and Confessions. I thought that sounded off. Bad on me. But the album Playing the Angel. Come on. Fucking please.
They apparently did grow up in religious schools, so that's probably...
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're British, and like if you're even a little...
you grew up with much religion.
Yeah, religion.
Religion.
That's where the history's from.
Religion.
We have new tunes at home this week. It's time to recommend some music. I'm gonna recommend Depeche Mode.
Shocker.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at them, so it's kind of on my mind.
Are you looking at them, or are you looking at a song, like a list of songs?
Well, I'm looking at a list of songs. I actually can't. I'm like scrolling. I can't even see the song that I'd recommend, but I know it. The song is One Caress. Is
it about when you let Jesus take the wheel and then he awkwardly caresses your thigh at the same time?
I will say Depeche Mode kind of toes the line of, is this spiritual / Christian, or is this about fucking macking some hoes?
Fucking macking some hoes. Goes on an entire rant about how Depeche Mode is obviously a Christian religious band, and then goes, but is it about macking some hoes? It remains to be seen. We don't know.
No, the song I'm recommending is One Caress. It's written and sung by Martin Gore, who's like the half of Depeche Mode, honestly. It's one of the most beautiful songs I can even think of. It's got like a string quartet in it. If you ask somebody, Depeche Mode, Personal Jesus, Enjoy the Silence, and then play One Caress, they will not be able to fucking guess that it's Depeche Mode, because it's such a unique song that's kind of outside of what they normally do. And it's something that Martin Gore normally does, where he'll do like some great fucking he'll become a maestro and just create this giant orchestraic masterpiece, and this is the best one in my opinion. One Caress.
Hell yeah, good to know. I recently upgraded my We Have New Tunes at Home system, because normally what I do is you say, and now we have new tunes at home, and I go, holy fuck, what music have I been listening to recently this week? And
right.
That's not...
What's the indie queen got for us this time?
No. That's my point.
Now I harp on you, but I don't hate indie music.
I don't either, but I also don't listen to it as much as it appears that I do because of my suggestions. And it's because I panic and I go to this like giant fucking playlist I have, and so I'll just pick something that I'm like, I remember that being good, and it's usually fucking indie music.
No,
I don't know what to do.
The other day I was thinking, because I know that like we made that rule, that no SoundCloud rule, and I did notice that like two of the artists that you've listed off so far are like barely not SoundCloud musicians where they have like less than 1,000 followers or downloads.
Look, if they're on Spotify, I'm counting it.
Sure.
It's allowed.
We're on Spotify. It's a low fucking bar.
Exactly. So anyway, my point being, I have evolved enough that instead of trying to panic and come up with shit in my brain, instead, I have started adding my suggestions to a playlist that I can easily access while we are podcasting. So my actual suggestion of the week is Won't Trade by Q-Tip, which he's a rapper, and it's got kind of like a 90s sort of hip hop rap vibe with a little bit of jazz influence
Like
to
JVB?
it.
I'm kidding.
JVB.
Like JVB is like my entire personality now. I don't know what happened.
I
Joey
don't know
Valencia
why.
Bray.
Oh, I don't know why when you said JVB, I was like Justin Bieber? I don't know his middle name. No harm, no foul, because I also fucking love Joey Valencia and Bray since you
They're
suggested
so
them.
fucking good. There's a music festival in October that I'm trying to calculate the logistics of, but they're there on Friday, and like they're
Where is
playing
the music festival?
Sacramento, and on that day is gonna be like Slipknot and
Oh shit.
Skillet, Five Finger Death Punch.
This is a good music festival.
Yeah, and it's just like at fucking it's just like Sacramento, so that's
Just
distance
at
for me.
fucking Sacramento.
Yeah. Five Finger Death Punch, Rise Against is gonna be there. Evanescence, Dropkick
Oh, damn.
Murphys, Anthrax, Iron Maiden, Breaking
Dude, there's a
Benjamin,
lot of
Motley
good-
Crue, Judas Priest. Oh, that's Saturday though. Seether, Pantera, Slayer, and Joey Valencia and Bray. So I'm like,
You're
I
like,
gotta
and
figure, I gotta
them.
figure it out. Because like I was looking up like where can I see them because I'd like to see them in concert because I've immediately a fanboy overnight.
Yep.
But
Well,
they're at
'cause
this
they're
like
great.
they're at this like big metal festival, and I'm like, everybody else I want to listen to is also there.
Fuck yeah.
But at the same time, I'm in the upper half of my 30s, and music festivals are just exhausting to even think about.
Bruh. I'm so sorry. I was looking at this list. It's East Coast, East Coast, East Coast. And then it's fucking Warsaw, Poland. And then
Is that the right list?
Bodo. No, this says international. It's definitely them. And then
Huh.
it says Bodo, I think Netherlands. Rensasparken. I don't know. There's letters I do not know in this.
Cyrillic.
Utsolgt. Festivalpass.
Another artist that I really want to see in concert is Caravan Palace because I'm fucking
Ah.
in love with the new album.
I feel like they'd be good live too.
Gangster Melody Club, I think is what it's called. But I've been listening to it. It's such a fucking good album, and I would love to see them live, but they are 1,000% a French band, and they play in Europe.
Sad
And whenever do
life.
they come to the West Coast? Never. Anyway, thank you for joining us on this adventure of Mystery Men. They were a mystery.
a
They're not
ride.
anymore. We have discovered them.
Do you
They're
think
just
that's why
men
they
now.
didn't say everybody's names for so long? Or two of their names for
Yes.
so long?
Yeah, it makes. I mean, when you think about
That
it,
tracks.
it makes.
It does. Anyway, thank you for enduring this film as I have. If you liked what you heard, or you just fucking hate us, like and subscribe on whatever your most favorite
Watch Mystery
podcasting
Men.
places. Definitely spend all your time on Mystery Men.
I need to find
Um,
another bad movie to like gaslight Rachel into watching.
What movie did you suggest at the beginning of this? It's fine. You'll listen
I
to
don't
it when you
remember.
edit.
Yeah.
If you want to talk to us about a thing, suggest music, ask for absolutely fucking awful advice, really whatever you want to do, email us at whtpah@gmail.com. That's whoopah@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at We Have That Podcast at Home, or Woodpa on Blue Sky, WHTPAH on Blue Sky. And next week we shall be tackling the absolutely divine and fine art of Oh, this one we haven't had in a while. It is Slice of Life.
Slice of life, IRL, day to day,
Slice of Life.
every day. Fantastic news. Well, I have been Off-Brand Gamage.
And I've been Off-Brand Rachel, and this has been our Off-Brand podcast.
Also known as, that's AKA for you hip kids out there. We have that podcast at home. Thank you.
We love you. Stay with us forever. Please.
Stay with us, Marty.
I'm lonely. Anyway, bye.